Globenet Realty, real estate is our world.
Now we're standing here face to face, afraid to move or else.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, welcome to this show today, the weekly real estate update with Usha Chandra of Globenet Realty. With that, let's welcome to the show, Usha.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Australian Indian Radio, and Usha Chandra.
Yes, it's always wonderful to have you on the show. And today, let's take a look at some slightly different figures because we like to vary some of the stats that we look at on a weekly basis. But today, let's take a look at the change in the national dwelling values. Let's take a look across the country and see what has the change been maybe on the annual basis.
Yes, let's have a quick look at the results on the 30th of April 2022. Sydney, the market was minus 0.2%, and the annual growth was 14.7%. The median price is 1,127,000. Melbourne, there was not much change there at all, 0%, and annual was 8.4%, and the total returns was 11.3%, and average median price is 806,000. Brisbane, the change was 1.7%, so that was pretty good, and the annual changes was 29.3%, and the total returns is 33.8%, and average price is 771,000. Adelaide is 1.9%, and the monthly change and the annual change was 26.2%. So the total returns 30.6%, very good there as well. And average price medium is 620,000. Let's have a quick look at Perth. 1.1% is the monthly change, and the annual change is 6.7%. The total returns is 11.3%, and the median price is 552,000. Hobart is minus 0.3%, and the annual change is 20.7%. and the total return is 25.5%, and the median price is 735,000. Darwin is 0.9% is the monthly change, and the annual change was 8.7%, and the total change was the return was 15.7%, and 501 is the median price. Looking at Canberra, 1.3% is the monthly change, and the annual is 20.9%, and the total returns 25.7%, and the median price is 947,000. Let's have a quick look at the combined capital cities. The monthly change was 0.3%, and the annual was 14.6%. The total return is 17.4%, and the median price is 827,000. So looking at the regional markets as well, let's have a quick look at the regionals. 1.4% was the monthly change, and 23.9% was the annual change, and 28.5% is the total returns, and 589,000 is the price, median price. So national result is 0.6% on a monthly change, and 16.7% is annual change, and 19.8% is the total returns, and 748,635 is the median price. So that's quite a lot of changes there. Looking at the monthly and the annual and the total returns and the median values, quite high up, still quite high up there.
Well, wonderful to see that Brisbane tops the list with annual return at 33.8%, which is quite an amazing result there, I would say. Well, right now, that's quite a great comparison there. Well, right now, let's go and take a look at, so we've seen that. Now, what about coming back to our area, coming back to, say, Brisbane? Let's take a look at how that all equates to, looking at the suburbs. And right now, let's look at which 12 suburbs had the highest growth in that period.
Yes, looking at the 10 capital city suburbs with highest 12-month value changes in the dwellings. The Greater Brisbane, let's have a quick look at that. Cedar Grove, which is more Logan and Bow Desert area, and that one is $665,000, and the change in dwelling is 46.6%, quite high up there. Number 2 is Coomba, which is the north side of Brisbane in Moreton Shire Council, 1,161,000, say 1,162,000, and 44% is the changes there. Cedar Vale is another suburb on the Logan area, Bow Desert area, at 843,810, and 43.6% is the change, the annual change. Sheldon, Brisbane East, 1.5 million or 1,584,000, 43.2% is the change there. Logan Central, which is another suburb in Bow Desert area, and 465,592, 41.1%, which quite large, high percentage there as well. Then is Regent's Park in Queensland, Logan Bow Desert. Looking at all that Logan Bow Desert area, that's quite high there, 678,000, 40%, 40.5%. Donnybrook, which is in the north side, Brisbane on Moreton Shire, that one is 645,000 basically, 40.4%. And Boronia Heights, which is again Logan Bow Desert area, 576,000 and 40.3%. Park Ridge is another Logan area, 1,088,000, 39.5% is the increase there. Alexandra Hills, Brisbane East, 773,000 and 39.3%. Looking at those suburbs there. Then the rest of the Queensland, let's have a quick look at the rest of the Queensland. Blackbutt, which is Queensland Wide Bay area, 312,000, 48.4%. So the prices were pretty low there. If you compare now, 48.4%. Blackbutt again, North Side Wide Bay, 408,000 is 46.4%, quite high. Kura Wide Bay area, 589,000. The Palms, which is again Wide Bay area, 681,000. Looking at Nindri, which is in Sunshine Coast area, 1.3 million plus there, 43.2%. Chamorro, how do you pronounce Chamorro? White Bay area again, 403,000. Which is White Bay area again, 638,755, 40%. Marudon, White Bay area again, 381,000, which is 40.9%, almost 41%. Beabram, which is more Sunshine Coast, 955,536, 40.4%. Kulula Cove, White Bay area, so 548. Looking at White Bay area, quite high growth over there as well. And near Sunshine Coast, we know Sunshine Coast is pretty expensive coming up, even in that side of the town as well.
So yes, the last two graphs, the first one, we looked at the top 10 capital cities in Brisbane, and we looked at the average home values and the percentage change. So if you looked at the first one, we looked at Greater Brisbane, which was 770 as the average price, and 29.3% was the average change. And then you look at individual ones where they have done. So the average for Greater Brisbane is 29, but you look at, say, Cedar Grove, they did 46.6. And then we looked at all of the rest of Queensland, where the average price was 551,000 and the average change was 25. So both the areas, Greater Brisbane and rest of Queensland, at about 25 to 28%. But the key areas have really grown up, as you rightfully said. White Bay, look at White Bay and Blackbutt, they are 48.4. So that's quite a big growth there. But in Queensland, in the rest of Queensland is 25.3%, and the Greater Brisbane was 28%. Well, looking at all of those, and of course we know that all of the market has seen a slight reduction now, because the market was inflated, as everyone said, and it was unsustainable that way, the price rise. So let's take a look at the peak growth indicators, and let's look at what the last 3-month growth has been, and of course looking at each city. Let's see when and how much by they peaked when they peaked.
Yes, let's have a quick look at every capital city and regional market has seen a reduction in the trend rate of growth. Looking at the 3-month changes, the regions. Let's have a quick look at Sydney, minus 0.5%, and the peak rate growth was 9.3%, and month of peak growth was May. So May was the highest growth in Sydney. Looking at Melbourne, minus 0.1% was the 3-month change, and then 5.8%, and April 22 and 21 was their peak growth time. Brisbane 5.7%, quite high up here, and 8.5% was the 3 months peak rate growth, and December 2021 was the best market and the highest sales in this area in Brisbane. Adelaide is 5.4%, 7.4 is the peak rate of growth, and their best month was January 2022. Perth was 2.4%, and the peak growth, look at the peak growth, 7.4%, quite high, and this was January 2022. Perth was March 21, and Hobart is 1.2%, and peak growth in the 3-month period was 8.2%, and July 2021 was their best month. Darwin 2.2% and 7.9%, and their best month was May 2021. Looking at ACT, 2.7%, and their peak growth was 7.3%, and their best month was August 2021. So looking at all that, apart from Adelaide 2022 January, every other cities had the from April to August to December, 2021, there was the peak growth.
So it clearly shows that, coming from mid 21 till December 21 was when most of the ones saw their peak prices. So, that's quite a good indication of what the market had been. So, the other area we always look at is the listings, of course, the number of properties that came on the market. Without the listings coming on, there's nothing much happening. So rather than just going by these numbers and that numbers, let's quickly look across the nation and look at the percentage-wise of advertised supply.
Yes, looking at the advertised supply, that's an interesting chart there. So looking at Sydney, 6.9%, Melbourne was 3.7%, Brisbane was minus 20.6% because there was not many properties. That's why the prices were quite high there, because it's always demand and supply, so supply was not that much in stock, so the prices went crazy. Adelaide is same thing, minus 20.9%. Perth is minus 16.4%, and Hobart was 17.7%. Darwin is 19.9%, quite large number of listings there. And Canberra was 6.9%. So looking at the combined capital cities, minus 5% was the rate there. And combined regional was minus 19.4, and national was minus 11.3. So it also all equates to demand and supply in properties, where there's larger amount of properties, like looking at Sydney and Melbourne, they had quite large numbers of listings compared to the 3 other states, Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth. Listings were not that many, but the prices were quite high. So that's the result of the advertised supply.
And quite rightfully said. So if you look at the combined, the capitals in the regionals, minus 19% and nationally minus 11%. So the number of listings on the market, even though the prices were very high, is less. I would have thought that people would have come forward and put their houses on the market, but they didn't. So the number of listings that came on and the total advertised supply is actually in minus. Quite interesting. See, unless you look at these facts and figures, you could be making wrong judgments. So looking at all of those right now, we know the other equation in real estate is the rentals. So, let's take a look at first the combined results of the rental area, meaning the houses and units together. Then maybe we'll look at them separately and see how they fared in the rental market. So maybe if we look at, maybe the returns and the yield and the change.
Okay, looking at, let's have a quick look at the markets now. The Sydney market was change is minus, annual, sorry, we'll just do the annual ones. 14.7%, total return is 17%, in gross yield is 2.5%. And looking at Melbourne, annual is 8.4%, the total return is 11.3%, and gross yield is 2.8%. Now look at Brisbane. Brisbane is 33.8%, quite high there, and 3.5% is the gross yield. And looking at Adelaide is total annual is 26.2%, and total return is 30.6%, and gross yield is 3.8%, quite high there. Looking at Perth is annual is 6.7%, total return is 11.3%, and gross yield is 4.4%. And Hobart 20.7% is the annual, and total returns is 25.5%, and gross yield is 3.7%. Darwin quite high there as well. Annual was 8.7%, 15.7% was the total return, and looking at the gross yield is 6%, so quite high there. I think it's the highest there. And looking at Canberra, 20.9%, and then return is 25.7%, and gross yield is 3.8%. And looking at the values of the properties as well, Sydney prices were quite high, over 1.1 million, and then Melbourne is 806,000 is the median price, and 770 is the Brisbane's median price, and Adelaide is 619, Perth is 552, and Hobart was median price was 735, and Darwin is 501, and Canberra median price is 947. So looking at the yields quite high. I mean, looking at the price in Darwin is $501,000, and the yield is quite high there.
And quite rightfully, I'm glad you touched on the median prices there as well, because the median price divided then by the return gives the yield. So that's why the median values are there, because based upon, so this is what the value is of the property, and this is what the return is. So that is used to calculate the yield. So Darwin did the best, as you have rightfully mentioned there as well. Well, okay, so that's looking at all, I mean, a combined picture. But people still like to know, how did houses compare with units? So first of all, let's take a look at the same scenario, but with the houses only.
Okay, looking at the houses, let's have a quick look at the annual first. Annual rate in Darwin was 17.1%, and the total return is 19.3%, and gross yield is only 2.2%, and the median price is 1,416,000. So basically 1,417,000. Melbourne, looking at annual, 10.1%, and the total return is 13%, and gross yield is 2.4%, and the price is 1 million. And for the average property there, looking at Brisbane, annual is 32%, total return is 36.8% and gross yield is 3.3%. So the median price is 880,000 in Brisbane. Looking at Adelaide, annual return is 28.4% and total return is 33.1% and gross yield is 3.5% and the median price is 676,000. Looking at Perth, annual return is 6.9%, total return is 11.4%, gross yield is much better there, as 4.2% and median price is 578,000. Looking at Hobart, annual return is 20% and then total return is 24.7% and gross yield is 3.7% and the median price is 793,000. Darwin, again, let's have a quick look at Darwin. Annual is 5.6%, total return is 11.5% and gross yield is quite high there as well, 5.6%, median price is 576,000. Looking at Canberra, annual is 21.5% and total return is 26.2% and gross yield is 3.4% and median price is over $1 million as well. So looking at the three places, the median price is over $1 million is Canberra, Melbourne and Sydney. And the yield is not that high compared to the value of the property.
Well, of course, the yield is based on the value of the property. So if you look at Darwin, why the yield is high is because the property values are low, returns are high, that gives a higher yield. So for investors, they always look at the yields, okay, meaning what can we pick up a property for and what sort of returns would be there. So with the demand and everything, but one of the other things that investors need to look at is also the capital growth. It's not only the yield is okay, it is good, it's your income coming in on a month-to-month or weekly basis, but what would it property grow in value as well? But that, of course, depends on individuals as well, their tax situation and individual situations as well. So some people are happy with the yield. Some people would rather go for capital growth. Well, that was quite a good scenario there. So now we have seen how the houses performed. Now let's take a look at that same scenario across all the cities, but for units and apartments.
Yes, looking at Sydney market, total annual return is 8.9% and total return is 12.2%, gross yield is 3.2% and the median price is again 830,000. Melbourne, similar sort of thing, annual is 4.7%, annual return is 8.1%, gross yield is 3.6%, a bit better than Sydney's gross yield, and 630,000 is their median price. Looking at Brisbane, annual is 15.6%, quite high, total return is 21.1% and gross yield is pretty good, 4.6% and median price is 487,000. Looking at Adelaide, annual is 12.6%, total return is 18.4% and gross yield is quite high as well, 5% and 409 is their median price. Let's have a quick look at Perth. 4.7% is the annual and total return is 10.3%, gross yield is 5.5%, 409 is their median price. Hobart, 23% is their annual and total return is 28.6% and 4% is their gross yield. Median price is 579. Looking at Darwin, annual is 15.2%, total return is 23.3%, net gross yield is 6.6% and 371 is their price. Let's have a quick look at Canberra. Annual is 18.4%, total return is 24.2% and yield is 4.8% and their median price in units is 619.
Wow, that's quite a graph there. And if you look at those figures, Darwin in both houses and units did very well. So if anyone had the crystal ball and if they had invested in Darwin at the right time, they would have really gotten, sitting on a right nest egg, as they reckon. So yes, that's been wonderful to see all these results across. Well, because I think this was quite good, slightly different, but very good. And for our viewers and listeners, looking at the yield. So if the yield is, of course, what you can pick up a property for, and what sort of returns would be there. Based upon that, the yield is calculated. So wonderful. And right now, before we finish up for this segment, I would like to just get an update of your area.
Yes, our area has been busy, but because due to 3 long weekends, it has been a bit quiet as well in the sales side. As we were discussing, a lot of people are not listing their properties on the market. They have gone for holidays and school holidays and 3 weekends in a row. So the listings have come very, very slow. The buyers are still there, but the supply of properties are not there at the moment. Rental market is pretty good. Quite a few new rentals in the area. So our office is busy in the rental section, not in the sales section at the moment. But if anybody is thinking of renting or selling, please give us a call on 3865 4466 and contact one of our team members, and they'll be able to help you in achieving your result. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Australian Indian Radio and Usha Chandra, OEM.
And thank you very much for that very nice cross-section of what's actually happening. So we saw the graph that Brisbane, the listings were minus 20%. So that speaks volumes there in itself. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It's been wonderful having you on the show this week. And next week, we will go into that hot topic of the interest rates. And we'll look at, we know that the rates have been increased. Everyone's had that. But we'll look at what sound waves it's sending out into the industry. What are everyone saying? Because it's just hot off the press. So by next week, things will settle down, and we'll bring to you an in-depth analysis of what it's going to look like. And we might even have some facts and figures about what it would mean to an average mortgagee, like, okay, this is what you're paying with this interest rate rise. In the end, how much more would you be paying, and things like that. So until next week, it's goodbye from us. So thank you so much for being on the show, sir.
Globenet Realty. Globenet Realty has been the longest established, trusted and respected agency in its trade area. Usha Chandra, Director of Globenet Realty, provides honest and ethical service to her customers. If you are thinking of investing in Brisbane real estate market, or if you are seeking professional property management, then you should contact Usha Chandra today on landline 3865 4466 or mobile 0419 775 416. And for further updates, log on to our website www.globenetralty.com.au. Globenet Realty is your own local real estate agency. Situated at Shop 52281 Sandgate Road, Boondall. Globenet Realty. Real estate is our world.